Oh, that was like a no-foot clean. That was goofy. Got it done though. What is up, YouTube? We are back with another day, and we are amply stimulated today. I just got done golfing like 30 holes with Welty on the simulator. Me and Brian, we're trying to kick his ass. Brian got it done, I did not, but the golf score is improving. The golf swing is looking a little better. It's pretty good for our third time going, and I'm a little concerned with myself. We're gonna catch the golf bug and add another thing to our repertoire, but today we are shot from that. It is crazy how tired I got golfing, and I was golfing on a fucking simulator, dude. Just that new movement and how inefficient I am with my swing. My back and central nervous system felt like it was on fire. The elbows are cooked from yesterday's throws, and the lower body feels shot from the sprints. So what better day than to get after it than today with our heavy Fridays, where we got 5 sets of 1, 230-pound snatches, and then 3 sets of 1 at 310 for the cleans. And we're gonna have to man up and get after it today because the body is lacking right now. We're gonna start today off with some lateral plyos over there, some approach jumps on the jump mat, and then we get into our snatches, get into our cleans. Gotta pick the girlfriend up at 8 from the airport, so we kinda have to fly, but it's still gonna be an electric day. Let's get after it, let's go. All right, so to start today, we got our third set of these lateral plyometrics. We got 4 up and over the hurdle, just going back and forth. I think Fridays is gonna be our lateral plyometric day for a little bit. This is week 2. Last week we did those lateral broad jumps. Today we got these hops over the hurdle, and we'll just continue to build it up. I kinda like having a little bit of structure with my jumps, so when I get to the variety piece, it's kinda simplified. It's like, okay, I just have to come up with a lateral jump variation for the day. And that's what we got today. So we got 4 jumps each side, trying to stay springy off the ground, putting the PVC pipe on the back so we take away those arms, and this one's spicy. I like this one a lot. Let's go. Let's go. Now we just got our approach jump Fridays here, testing the system out. This is what I've been a bot on in the warm-ups, just because the body's hurting a little bit and didn't want to jump very hard, but feeling a little bit more warmed up. The record to beat from last week is 33.6. Let's get after it. Oh, come on. 34.2, I'm predicting it, come on. 34.3, ooh, that's free money, let's go. Oh! 33.9, okay, both of them over our last week's PR. We got one more in us. Knees are feeling inflamed today. We feel like a bum today. Like the pop is there, but the body's hurting and whining, and it's not giving me its all yet, but we will wake it up by force. Let's go. Oh, come on. Oh, you motherfucker, 34.4, same one. We're gonna call it on that. We're feeling a little beat up on that left hip. The deceleration size, I really think it's from softball. I was doing a ton of decel work yesterday. And when I really get in that hip, that glute feels stretched, and it's pretty stretched right now. So we're gonna get to our snatches. We got 5 sets of 1 at 230. It's going to be a send today to get these reps, but the goal is to snatch it in the full snatch position, catch at the bottom, bring it back up. I think today for our Q&A part of today, I'm gonna answer some client questions that I got asked yesterday on the Insider. I answered them on the Insider as well, but I thought they were good questions. And we'll answer a couple of those throughout the day, and hopefully we don't get absolutely bodied. Let's go. Good start, good start. That's tough. Bar's actually moving light. I just pussied out of that. Ooh. Oh man. Today's gonna be a grind. Gonna have to get after it. Let's go. Oh my God. Ugh, we feel like trash. I keep watching these back on the camera, and the bar is moving well. The body is just unwilling to catch it right now. We have to bully the body a little bit. It knows there's gonna be pain at the bottom, and it is avoiding that, and it's trying to catch with the little bench shoulders just to save the little pain, and it's making it feel like shit. We gotta hype ourselves up and get after it. Wake this body up, let's go. There we go. Fucking just need a little pep talk for yourself. My goodness, whiny ass. 4th set here. Let's keep chopping. Let's go. There we go. Ooh. Wait. All right, before we hit this 5th set, we're gonna answer our first client question of the day. And he asked, why do I feel my chest more when I do dumbbell benches? And if I feel my chest more, should I just stick with dumbbell bench instead of a barbell bench? And I would say with dumbbell exercises, compared to like full-on compound exercises when it comes to the barbell, it is pretty common for this to happen. I just think when you get to such a heavy load with the barbell and you're pushing your 1 rep max a little bit closer than you would with the dumbbells, it definitely becomes more of a global stimulus, right? So just because you're not feeling the chest specifically doesn't mean the chest isn't working. It just means the shoulders, the delts, the traps, your back, and your triceps are also working at the same time, so it's not as triggering it to a certain body part, which is why I don't think you should pick one or the other. I think you should do both, and I think you should just use those tools for what those tools are for. And when I use dumbbells, I'm trying to target a more specific muscle or drive a hypertrophy response, or maybe it's a little bit more mobility when I'm using dumbbells just because there's a little bit more range of motion and degrees of freedom. And when I'm looking for athletes to get really just globally strong and provide a global stimulus, we will use the barbell. So what I told this client was use the dumbbell bench to drive that hypertrophy stimulus and get the feel of that chest, but don't throw out our barbell bench because we still want that global strength stimulus, and those two things are gonna work together. And just because you feel a muscle more doesn't necessarily mean that muscle's working more. And I do believe the best way to have that look, that athletic look that a lot of people are going for, is not necessarily just straight up the bodybuilding method. I think the bodybuilding method can obviously get you there, where you're just straight hypertrophy the entire time. I just don't think you have to spend all your time doing that. I think you can get a global hypertrophy response that provides a lot more bang for your buck with some of the barbell stuff, and then you can specifically target some muscles that you want to grow with some of the dumbbell and accessory and bodybuilding work that we use. So not rare that you're feeling the chest more in the dumbbells than the barbell bench, but that also doesn't necessarily mean you're using or activating the chest any more than you are with the barbell bench. And I think we should keep using the tools for what the tools are made for, and stick to hypertrophy bodybuilding stuff when we use the dumbbells, and provide the global stimulus with the barbell lifts. All right, let's get this last set here. Oh, sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. But if 6 months ago you told me I was ripping 230 for 5, I would have been ecstatic and done exactly what we did to get to this point. So we'll take that as a win today. We're gonna hit some front rack stretches with that loaded barbell that we did on Tuesday, and then we're gonna get to our cleans. Let's go. Boys and girls, I'm gonna be honest, we are getting dog watered today. 295 just absolutely ripped me in half. We're throwing on the knee sleeves. We got 310 for 3 sets of 1. Got to man up and do it. Let's go. Oh, that was like a no-foot clean. That was goofy. Got it done though. Jeez, we're sloppy. Yeah, I just watched it back, and that was my first ever no-foot clean. I've tried to do those on purpose, like warming up, and I cannot get the feel of those, and I just got it with 310 on the bar, so it was kind of a cool feel. I like extended and then just rode the bar down and bounced out of it. It was a nice feel, but wasn't the goal. I think it's just because there was no pop and I wasn't able to get off of my feet. Like, they're legitimately cemented in the ground. But like that feel here. Let's keep opening this up. Let's go. There we go. Better. All right, that last rep finally felt like we were waking up just a tiny bit, which is great because we got 1 set left. So let's rip this set. I'll answer another client question, and then we will go into our snatch pulls. Let's go. Ooh, let's go. Get to some pulls. All right, before we get to our pulls, I'm gonna answer our second client question of the day, which is, if I cannot touch my toes and my hamstrings are unbelievably tight, is it beneficial to be doing RDLs with weight? And this is one where kind of the antidote is in the poison itself. And the way you get better at the thing you suck at is by doing the thing you suck at. And we programmed some hamstring stretch and some lengthening stuff for this athlete. And it's just kind of generally in our program as it is. But the best way to get better at hinging and open up those hamstrings is to hinge more, especially under load. It's just a loaded stretch. And while again, it is the poison that you aren't very good at currently, so it's not gonna feel the best, you can't just get bit by the snake right away and load up that barbell to 405. That's not gonna do you any good. But you do have to gradually build up to that point by just giving yourself small exposures to the poison, which means just probably bumping back in weight just a little bit and hitting our sets and reps and tempos that we have programmed and building that length in those hamstrings and building that hinge pattern. There are definitely a couple things you can do if you suck at hinging as well, and I had this athlete send me a video, and that's one of the best parts about the Insider is you can send me videos and I do some form reviews on you. But where your feet are placed, if your toes are elevated, if your feet are in or out, like all of these different ways to hinge and give you a different feel of that hinge pattern, can work those hamstrings in a different way. And those are definitely things we can play with to build up that hinge pattern as well. But we still don't want to avoid the exercise. I think that's a fault that a lot of people do, is like they suck at something, so they avoid it completely to go work on some other skill set. So a lot of times you hear it with squatting and their hip mobility, and they go do a bunch of hip mobility, then they come back to the squats and their hips are more loose, but they still don't know how to squat. And I think you should do these things concurrently and build them up together. You just scale back the RDLs and the weight that you're using while you're scaling up the flexibility and mobility routines that we're doing to lengthen those hamstrings. And we combine those two things. So once you lengthen those hamstrings, you also learn how to hinge with them, and you get the feel of that hinge with them. And that's another really cool thing that you can do and that I enjoy doing with our athletes, is hitting a stretch before you go do your main lift, almost like a pre-fatigue method, where you're drawing awareness to that part of your body, you're opening that part of the body up, and then you're going to go hinge. We do this a lot with Jefferson curls, where we'll hit like a 2-minute Jefferson curl iso before we do any of the Jefferson curls themselves. You can also just do some straight hamstring stretches or some split work, really draw awareness into those hamstrings and lengthen those hamstrings. And then right when you're done with that, you can go do your sets. And you can pair those together where you're going like a 30-second iso on both legs, open them up, then hitting a set, and you do that before every single set. Or you can just hit a 2-minute iso before all of your sets. And I would try both those out and see which one allows you to feel better. But yes, even if the hamstrings are tight when you're doing RDLs, you should still do them. You should just make sure you're doing them correctly by sending me a form video so I can check it out, and then loading them properly so that we can build them up to where we want to go and not hurt ourselves in the process, right? So let's get to these pulls. Let's go. All right, now we got 4 sets of 3 snatch pulls here, trying to get that bar high, trying to stay tall. I think this is something that I need to get much better at, and trying not to panda it, and we're gonna do our best to try and not do that. But time will tell. Let's rip it. First set here. Oof. Oof. Ooh. Felt pretty good. Let's go. All right, second set here. Want to string these together a little bit more than the last set where I tip forward like an athlete. Let's go. Ooh, and then I do it again. Ooh. Oh, let's go. All right, 2 more sets here. Then we are gonna go pick up the girlfriend, and I got some chili in the crock pot that we've been slow cooking all day. I really should have made this recipe. It'll eventually be the meathead chili, and I'll post it on the page, but I did not record it today because I wanted to try it out, and I took 1 bite of it before I left, and it's gonna be absolute fire, and it was the easiest thing I've ever made. And it made like 2 weeks worth of meals, so this is absolutely gonna make the meathead cookbook, and I'm excited to eat it tonight, so let's get this 3rd set and earn it. Oof. Oof. Ooh, let's go. All right, before we hit this last set, we're gonna answer our last client question of the day, which was, my brother herniated a disc in his lower back. It's got me scared about my core. Should I be implementing more core work as homework separate of the program? I feel like my core is not very strong, and my brother's got me freaked out a little bit. And in most programs, I would say bending the spine and adding in some sort of loaded spinal movements where we're flexing, extending, bending, twisting, rotating with intent, with velocity, with load, and we're building up those 3 things. And I would say add that into most programs, because most programs are not doing that. But fortunately for you, you are running a Yoakum Strength program, where one of our main principles of the program is to bulletproof and weaponize the spine. I myself herniated a disc when I was 16 years old in high school. Kind of the origin strength coach story that a lot of strength coaches have. Was told I couldn't deadlift ever again, that I wasn't gonna be picking stuff up off the ground ever again. And for a long time, I believed it. For a long time, I followed this shit advice. I avoided deadlifts, I avoided training my spine, I did some planks and some sit-ups, and I just felt weaker, worse, and there would be at least 1 week every single month where my back would completely lock up and I wouldn't be able to get out of bed. And when I got out of college, I finally got exposed to some of the spinal movement stuff. Dr. Tommy John was a huge influence on that piece. And ever since implementing these new principles, I've had very, very few and far between issues with my back. Well, loading it up way more than I've ever loaded it up. So I'm moving more weight, I'm performing better, and I'm feeling much better than I was in the past. And all of that stems from training, weaponizing, and bulletproofing the spine, which we include in our program. So lucky for you on the specific program that you are on, you do not need to add any more of the stuff that we're doing in. A lot of our loaded side planks that you're doing right now, back extension isos, Jefferson curls, all of these things are there to weaponize and bulletproof that spine so that we do not have issues. And not only so we don't have issues, but so that we can perform better and feel better and do the things we want to do in life at a higher level well being out of pain at the same time. And if you're not on the program, which I suggest you should get on, if you're doing all these things with your spine, well, following a well-structured, principled program where you're lifting barbells and picking things up and squatting things and having to brace the spine that way under heavy loads, you are doing plenty of core work. And the stimulus that you get from that is going to be so much higher than doing like a 60-second ab workout that you find on YouTube. So that's my answer on core work. Let's get this fourth set here. Fuel tank is empty, man. Gotta go fill it up with some chili. Appreciate you guys watching. Keep chopping wood.